I want to welcome all of the ninth grade parents to Parsippany Hills. Welcome to the Viking family and Viking Nation. Whether this is your first child in the Hills or whether you've had a lot of children go through the school here, I just want to welcome you. I know this is an unusual year and that there's a lot of questions, so hopefully at the end of tonight, a lot of those questions will be answered for you. Just please understand, given the current climate, changes will be continuous throughout the year, but I hope to share with you our plan as of now, what the year will look like. Some of the main things we want to cover tonight, we want to talk about the freshman orientation, which will be tomorrow and Thursday, what that will look like. We'd like to talk to you about our current bell schedule and just understand that that could change, but talk to you about what virtual and in-person learning will look like in the fall. Graduation requirements, we'll cover some of those. Most importantly, communication, how we'll maintain communication between administration and your children, as well as home through the parents. I want to tell you all the ways that we can communicate not only updates, but activities, sports, everything that's happening, just so you're aware of everything that goes on campus. Student involvement. One of the great things about the Hills is the heavy involvement of our clubs and our activities and how much ownership our students take here, and how I would really love to see that continue and all we have to offer. And most importantly, all the supports here, our great counseling staff and all the other academic supports that we have in place for your children throughout the year. A new NJIT partnership that we have, math supervisor Kelly Curtis will be updating you on that, and as well as our safety guidelines, which I'm sure a lot of you have questions on. And lastly, I want to thank everyone that submitted questions through our Google form, and I'll be answering the major themes that emerged from those questions, give you some more clarification about those. So I would like to turn it over to our assistant principal, Chris Keegan, so that he can give you an idea of what the freshman orientation is going to look like.
Hello, newest Viking parents and incoming freshmen. It's a pleasure to be here with you, and I look forward to seeing some of my former Knights and former Knight parents as they make their transition to the Hills. We're looking forward to spending the next 4 years with you. A little bit about freshman orientation. Everyone should have received an email via their student email account. And also we sent out a school messenger notifying parents that students were able to sign up for a time slot for next week's freshman orientation. Everyone received information regarding the freshman orientation that is happening this week. It will be Wednesday the 26th and Thursday the 27th. Students did sign up for time slots. We will have 4 time slots available on Wednesday, and we will have 3 time slots available on Thursday. All of our groups for freshman orientation will be maintained at a manageable level. That is why we instituted the sign-up sheet. There will be 3 different activities that the students will participate in when they do arrive. So each group will arrive for their time slot. They will be brought into the auditorium where we have our student peer leaders and upperclassmen available to them. We will introduce ourselves, myself, Mrs. Galligan, our new assistant principal, Dr. Thompson, our principal, and Mr. Ricker, our assistant principal athletic director. We'll introduce ourselves, give an overview, welcome the students to the Hills. The peer leaders will be available for questions, any information that they can provide on their experience as incoming freshmen and how they have traveled through the Hills for the previous years. That will take 30 minutes. At that time, the students will be broken up into smaller groups of 5. And peer leaders will then give them a tour of the building so they become familiar, can recognize where their classes are, navigate the hallways. If they would like to bring a copy of their schedule, or if they're able to take a screenshot and have it accessible that day, it might make it easier for them to identify where their classes are as they take the tour. The tour will also be 30 minutes in length. At the conclusion of the tour, they will be brought to the patio where the TSS department will be available to hand out their Chromebooks. It is important that prior to them arriving at the building that day, that the documents that Dr. Thompson had sent out last week are filled out so that we can ensure that that is all done when they arrive, so we can make the Chromebook distribution as seamless as possible. We do ask that students arrive at their designated time and are picked up promptly when their time session ends, just so we can ensure that we maintain a manageable amount of students in the building at once. And lastly, students will be required to wear masks throughout the duration of orientation.
I would like to update everyone on our new calendar as well as our daily schedules.
The first week of school, both in-person cohorts will attend one day in school. On Wednesday, the A cohort will meet with all of their teachers on an 8-period half-day schedule, while the B cohort and the virtual cohort both attend virtually at home. On Thursday, the B cohort will attend an 8-period half-day schedule in person, and the A cohort and virtual cohort will attend virtually at home. On Friday, all 3 cohorts, including the virtual cohort, will attend an 8-period virtual schedule from home. On Fridays, or at least mostly Fridays, and the first Friday of the school year, everyone, both A and B cohort, as well as the virtual cohort, will attend an 8-period virtual school day. Class 1 will be about 43 minutes from 7:40 to 8:23, and all of the other periods, 2, 3, and 4, will each be 41 minutes. There will be a midday break for about 50 minutes for everyone to get lunch or something quick to eat, and then virtually the classes or periods 5, 6, 7, and 8 will finish each about 41 minutes apiece. Those are the virtual Friday schedule. So each teacher is only scheduling classes during their period and allotted time. And that is to avoid other teachers holding class while another teacher is trying to hold instruction. So that is the schedule for a virtual meet. Next, I'm going to show you a typical school day for the cohorts starting on that first Monday after we get back from Labor Day. As you can see, on Monday the 7th, we have Labor Day. Starting on the 8th, it will follow a day 1 rotation for cohort A. Day 2 will be a day 2 rotation for cohort A. And then we alternate a day 1 for cohort A and a day 2 for cohort A. So cohort A will be in person that first full week of school after Labor Day. And cohort B and the virtual cohort will be learning from home. The Parsippany Hills bell schedule will look like what you see here with day 1 and day 2. Period 1, 2 will be in the morning from 7:40 to 9:31, and then we'll take a short 15-minute break in the afternoon where there'll be designated spots outside for students to socially distance and allow them to take their masks off outside, provided that they're 6 feet away from other students, and there'll be designated areas for this. And then we'll finish with periods 3 and 4. There'll be 1 hour for students to get lunch and get on their bus and go home. And then they will have a virtual afternoon. So if it's day 1, they'll finish with periods 5, 6, 7, and 8. On day 2, that same cohort that's attending in person that week would then have period 5, 6 with a break, and then 7, 8 in the morning. And then opposite of day 1, they would have periods 1, 2, 3, and 4, all virtually in the afternoon. As you can see the September schedule, all the way to the left, you see the cohort rotations and each day, as well as the virtual Fridays. This schedule will be posted on the Parsippany Hills website for you to review. Thank you very much.
Hello, Viking Nation. My name is Michelle Galligan, Assistant Principal at Parsippany Hills. I'm so excited to be here, and I look forward to collaborating with all of you throughout the school year. I'm here to talk to you about the Chromebook distribution and what that's going to look like come freshman orientation. So there are a couple forms that must be filled out in Genesis prior to receiving a district Chromebook. Both parent and student must log in separately to Genesis to review electronically signed 4 documents. You cannot pick up your device on freshman orientation day if these documents are not signed prior to your scheduled time slot. The required documents are the device user agreement for parents as well as students, and the student handbook, again for parents and students. So it's a total of 4 documents, 2 for the parents, 2 for the students. Once logged into the portals, a form with questions will be required to answer before proceeding to other sections in the portal. We encourage all families to purchase our device protection plan. The form is available in Genesis Parent Access under Documents. If you do not purchase the device protection plan, you will be responsible for the cost of any damages to your student's device. This is outlined in the device protection plan document in Genesis. Thank you and have a good night.
And at this time, I'd like to explain the graduation requirements that all of our students will need to meet by the end of their senior year. So every student that graduates Parsippany Hills will be required to have 4 years of English, 4 years of physical education and health. Driver's ed counts as health in the 10th grade. 3 years of social studies, 3 years of science, which include biology, chemistry, and physics. 3 years of mathematics, 1 year of world language, 1 year of career life skill elective, which the counselors will be working with all students to explain which courses meet that requirement, 1 year of visual performing art elective, and 1 semester of personal finance. AP Economics can fulfill that requirement. Each student is required to complete the NJSLA test. Was suspended last year and is up in the air. We'll see what happens this year. But at some point, in order to graduate, you'd have to meet the minimum scores for NJSLA. At the Hills, we have a lot going on, so there's main ways that we would like to communicate, but we'd also encourage you to follow us on social media, just so you can keep up with all the events and achievements that happen throughout the year. All of you that have entered your email into Genesis should be signed up to receive School Messenger. So the main way we communicate with students is generally through Gmail. And the way we communicate with parents is through School Messenger. It's just important that you have your inboxes set up so that the School Messengers don't go to your spam folder or anything else, and that you remain up to date on everything. Twitter, you can see the address on the screen, is at Par Hills High School. There will be times when we'll post schedules if it's an abnormal schedule for that day or any updates. So if you do follow on Twitter, that's one location where we'll post that information, as well as Instagram, which is at PHHS Vikings. And again, that's athletic events, plays, activities, any accomplishments, but it also includes schedule updates and things like that on Instagram. So if you do follow that and you have an account, I would encourage you to follow us on there. We do have updates, and a lot of these videos, like tonight's 9th grade parent night, will be posted on the school's homepage. Make sure that you bookmark that and go back to that frequently, because there will be updates on there, as well as the school calendar. And of course, Genesis, for all the academic updates and to periodically check your son or daughter's grades. The other thing I would encourage you to do is talk to your son or daughter, because Gmail is the primary way that we communicate. So if the counselor needs to check in with your son or daughter, they're going to send them an email through Gmail. We have a homeroom period for those of you that are meeting in person, but even virtually, we will send messages generally first thing in the morning. Even if there's a virtual or an in-person check-in, you'll be notified through Gmail, as well as other opportunities, sign-ups. A lot of the messages that come out of counseling and through administration will come through the Gmail student account. So make sure you talk to your son or daughter about getting into the habit of checking their Gmail frequently. I'm also excited to announce that we have a new YouTube channel, which will be posted on the school website. That'll contain all school-related activities, athletics, and as well as academic content. So please make sure that you access that. That's a great new resource that we have. I'll now turn it over to our assistant principal, Chris Keegan, to talk a little bit more about our club's activities and athletics.
It's very exciting each and every year to welcome you all here and to talk about our Viking community and clubs and activities that are available to you, as well as sports in every season of the year. Normally during the year, we do have, when you guys are here for orientation, we have a club fair where we make all of the clubs available in the cafeteria. You can meet club members, you can sign up for those clubs. Unfortunately, under the current circumstances, we will not be able to hold that event this year. But I did want to say to you that there are so many opportunities for you to get involved in different interests with different groups of people. Every single one of our clubs, we have over 70 currently at this point. All of those are posted on our website. In addition to that, outside of my office, in the main office of the building, we have the club list along with the advisor. So one of our biggest things here, and we take the most pride in, is student involvement. All the students are involved in some aspect of extracurricular activities. We have such a large percentage involved. And one of the greatest things that happens here is if there isn't something on that list that you find interesting and want to be involved in, we encourage you to make one. There is a process for you to start your own club. Students have done that in the past. They did a few this year. So that is also an opportunity for you to get more involved and to meet and work with some of the new classmates that you will be spending the next 4 years with. During your freshman orientation, Mr. Ricker, our athletic director and assistant principal, will also be available to explain to you a little bit about our 24 varsity sports that are available throughout the year. So if you have any questions, please bring them to orientation. This is another great opportunity while you're here that day. A lot of the students that you will meet inside of your group, as far as the peer leaders and some of the upperclassmen that we have in the building, are those that are involved in a lot of the sports and activities. So when we do our Q&A and we have our presentation, if there are any questions that you do have, we ask you to please ask. Find a group to get involved in. Take pride in the Hills, because that's what we do here. Go Vikings.
I'd like to talk about one of the biggest resources that you're going to have available to you over the next 4 years, which is our counseling department. We have 5 counselors in our counseling department. You can see the alphabet breakdown on the slide. Ms. Morcillo, who's our lead coordinating counselor, Mr. Worcester, who's joining us the first year here at Par Hills, Ms. Bouchong, Mrs. Barkowskis, and Mrs. Barrett, as well as our student assistance counselor, Mr. Delgado. The counseling department in a traditional year has a great availability during unit lunch, although this year they'll be available virtually. I want to emphasize again how important it is that all of our students are checking their emails. The counselors will set up individual appointments with all the freshmen, probably within the first month and a half, just to get them to know them individually. But they'll notify them through email of when to check in with them. So again, make sure that they're checking their school email. Students are free to meet with their counselors anytime when we have unit lunch, but again, they'll be working around that wherever our schedule is to make sure that they're also available virtually. Our counselors are going to be holding seminars and workshops throughout the year for parents and for students. So we have a junior parent night, we have a senior parent night that start to guide you through that whole college process, and those are important to check into. They also have resources on Google Classroom at each grade level, so it's important to check the counselors' Google Classrooms because there's going to be a number of resources specific to each grade level that each parent's going to want to look at. A tremendous resource that we have here for tutoring is our National Honor Society tutoring. That's coordinated through one of our National Honor Society advisors, Mr. Kadar, as well as all the members of the National Honor Society and Ms. Wall. The Par Hills chapter of the National Honor Society has a tutoring program that meets on a traditional schedule in a traditional year during unit lunch, as well as after school. The one-on-one tutors are available for every subject area. Please be in contact with your counselor or the National Honor Society site to make sure that you can schedule individual sessions for your son or daughter.
I would like to introduce our math supervisor, Kelly Curtis, to share information on our new partnership with NJIT.
Hello, this is Kelly Curtis. I am the district's mathematics, computer science, and business supervisor, and I'm really excited to share with you a brand new partnership between our district and the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Under this partnership, we will be rolling out 2 brand new programs for the upcoming school year. The first program I want to share with you is our Joint Advanced Standing Admissions Program. As freshmen, you will have the opportunity at the end of this school year to apply for early admissions into NJIT. And as long as you meet their general admissions criteria, you are guaranteed admissions into NJIT's bachelor's degree program. There will be a place reserved for you upon graduation from Parsippany Hills School District. Now, if you decide along the way that NJIT is not the school that you want to attend, you can choose to disenroll from the early admissions program at any time. It is not something that is binding. And students that are in the early admissions program will also have an opportunity through our dual enrollment program to receive back any credit of the tuition that you paid through the dual enrollment program. So the second program that I want to share with you is the options for advanced academic achievement, or as I've referred to a moment ago, dual enrollment. So dual enrollment with NJIT is for juniors and seniors only, and the dual enrollment program is where, through our partnership, NJIT has vetted both our teachers and our curriculum and approved them to earn NJIT credits and an official NJIT transcript. For this upcoming school year, the courses that have been approved are pre-calculus and pre-calc honors. They've been approved to run concurrently for NJIT's Math 110 course. So what that means is, if you enroll in this dual enrollment course and are in pre-calc or pre-calc honors, you will not need any changes to your schedule, or any additional class, as our program has been approved. But what you would need to do is to enroll through application and pay a significantly reduced tuition. Tuition at NJIT is currently $549 per credit, plus fees. Through our new agreement with NJIT, our students will receive a significant discount for tuition and will only be required to pay $150 per credit with no additional fees, and no need to buy any additional textbooks or anything like that. Each department and each course will have some varying expectations in terms of your minimum grade requirement and exams that you have to take. But for our first course with pre-calc and pre-calc honors, you just have to complete our program with a minimum of final average of B, and you will earn an official NJIT transcript if you are enrolled and paid that reduced tuition. We do have additional courses in the works, as these are brand new programs and a brand new partnership. And each year we're hoping to add on some additional programs and classes that we can earn some NJIT credits for. So this is very exciting news, lots of great opportunities. We will have more information throughout the school year. We will have NJIT come in and give some presentations to further explain what these programs are and the opportunities they present to you. So thank you. Have a great freshman year. Good luck.
One of the biggest items that parents want to know about are the safety guidelines. In order to give you a visual of what the school is going to look like when your son or daughter arrives, if you elected to be in person, we shot a short video so that you could see the hallways, what the classrooms look like, and if we do have a unit lunch period, what that lunch period would look like. Hi, I'm Dr. Thompson. I know a lot of you have had questions lately about what the safety guidelines are going to look like at Parsippany Hills when we get here in September. So today we want to walk you through those things and show you some of the guidelines that we've put in place already and what they look like. The first thing that's going to look different is the entrance. So we're going to have 3 entrances that everybody's going to come in the morning. So while you're used to going through the front entrance, everyone else is going to come up, and now we're going to enter through the patio. Once you come up the patio, you're going to look over here, and the side doors that go up the steps, as well as the cafeteria, will be the first 2 entrances that you can go up. If everything gets backed up at those 2 entrances, you will then be directed to go through the front entrance. So the way we come in the morning will be the first thing that's different. but as you'll notice, we have 3 entries for everybody to go through to help keep everybody separated.
Hello Viking Nation, my name is Miss Galligan and I'm going to be your new assistant principal this school year. I'm so excited to meet all of you. As you can see in my hand, I have some blue tape. I'm going to be explaining the flow of traffic in the hallway this year. So everybody should always stay to the right. This is a 9-foot hallway, so we have plenty of space if everybody stays on the right. You can definitely use this center lane to cross over, but then you have to change direction.
Hi everyone, it's Mr. Ricker. I'm here demonstrating one of our classrooms. Every classroom that we have is going to have a bottle of hand sanitizer. And as you can see by looking around the room, every other desk has been marked off with blue tape. We've put those taped desks on just to provide social distancing guidelines, and we'll be having our students spaced around the room.
Good afternoon, Viking Nation. Mr. Keegan here. Glad to be with all of you virtually. Can't wait to have you back, and obviously I'm the only one that needs a cue card, so just in case. Number one, I'd like to talk to you about some of our eating arrangements when you get back to the building. Our first will be, as it was, the cafeteria. It's very important that wherever you do decide to go during lunchtime, that you keep your mask on until you're seated and you're ready to eat. We will have multiple areas to eat. We've even added some to keep everybody socially distanced. So our first eating area will be here in the caf. And as you can see, this is a mock-up of one of your tables will look like. So tape has been put down, so you can sit 2 on the end on either side with 1 person in the middle. Once seats fill up, your teachers will explain to you that you have to go find another place to sit, but we will help you with that process. The other eating area that you do have now is the auditorium. There will be teachers in there as well to help you to find a seat that is socially distanced. Our third area is still going to be the gym, so that will be your third. And the fourth area that we're opening up is going to be the media center, which will not be open to eat. You can go there when you have finished eating, but once we reach a capacity, we will no longer let any more students in. We obviously have the patio and we have the back picnic area across from the nurse's office that is also still open, but obviously if there is inclement weather, you will all be inside. But those are the areas where you will be permitted to eat. We have the serving stations. 3 will be in the caf. There will be 1 in the school store, just as there was last year, and there will be 1 in the gym. One thing we really want to encourage to speed up the process and also to ensure safety is that everybody tries their best to pre-order your food as much as possible. And then one other thing that we find is very important, we want to make sure that we limit the movement once you are seated and in one place. So wherever you do go to have your lunch, you take your mask off when you're seated, you eat your lunch. When you're done, we encourage you to stay where you are, unless you have somewhere else to be with a teacher or something like that, which you will need a pass, or you need to go to the media center. But as we said earlier, if the media center becomes full, we will shut that down as well. So we look forward to having you back and can't wait to see you.
So we just explained to you all the major guidelines. We talked about all the major areas at arrival, in the hallway, in the classroom, and during unit lunch. With all of those guidelines, we can keep everybody safe. The one last thing that we have to follow are the face masks. If we keep our face mask on, complete coverage of our nose and our mouth, completely around the ears, we're going to be okay. 2 masks that we can't wear. You can't have a gator mask and you can't have a valve mask. All right, so if we have the appropriate mask and we have it on at all times, we're going to keep Viking Nation safe and have a successful start of the year. Thank you. So now I just want to answer some of the questions, and I want to thank the parents that entered questions through our Google form and just kind of talk about some of the major questions that were reoccurring. First question about symptoms that would cause students to stay at home, or if they reported to school, why would they be sent home? A lot of the questions were about allergies. Again, our school nurse is tremendous, and she's going to be following an algorithm of specific symptoms and signs and everything. So if for some reason a student came down to her office, if it was your traditional allergies on that day, that would be documented and she'd be able to treat that. So one of the first questions that one of the most popular questions is just about signs and symptoms and decisions that nurses will be making about what students get sent home. and about allergies. So of course, some students are going to experience common sneezing, allergies, or asthma. In those cases, those students would have pre-existing conditions that would be documented by the nurse, and she could just treat those. She'll be following an algorithm to make those decisions, but of course, we're always going to err on the side of caution, and if there's any reason to believe that the student needs to go home, we will. One of the other popular questions was, what should I do if my son or daughter is sneezing and the allergies are just acting up? This year we have the flexibility of having both virtual and in-person instruction. So if you're ever in question, we would recommend if it's an uncontrollable sneeze attack and runny nose, leave your son or daughter home for that day. Check in virtually. There'd be no penalty in doing that, provided they signed in, virtually that day, and we'd recommend just to stay home if they couldn't keep their mask on. Virtual learning with athletic practices. There may be schedules where your son or daughter is home for that day and there is an athletic practice that is scheduled for that day. We would encourage you to try to coordinate the best you can with masks on if you had to carpool, or just to try to coordinate to have rides. If that's not possible, we understand. You wouldn't be penalized if it wasn't possible to get back that day. The schedule is what it is this year, so we would just ask you to coordinate the best you can to try to make as many practices as you can. But there would be no transportation from home on a separate time to get you to practice. The other question is that there is a part of the back to school plan from the state that says that only students that have documented medical cases would be permitted to be in school without a mask. At this point, we have not received any documentation or any request from anyone to be in school without a mask. So at the start of school, every student that's in school would be required to have a mask on at this point. The other question that a lot of parents have pertains to lunch, band, music classes, and PE guidelines. If we have a unit lunch, the safety guidelines explain how we'll follow that, and that all students will have a mask on while they go to get their food, and that the only time that masks will be taken off, they'll all be separated by 6 feet, and they'll only have their masks on while they're eating or drinking. For band and music classes, we will utilize the auditorium, which provides enough space for everybody to be socially distanced while playing, but we're also going to utilize all the outside spaces on every nice day so that they can be properly separated and still be able to practice and have a normal class period. The PE guidelines are much the same. During any attendance or meeting in the gym, they would have their masks on, and their masks would only be able to come off once they're socially separated outside. And we're going to adjust the curriculum so that all our activities can provide for as much social distancing as possible. For every class period that a student has, they're expected to sign on, check in with the teacher for that period, and to follow any online instruction. So if it were a regular period at 7:40, you have English. If you're at home, or if your cohort is learning virtually that week, you'd be expected to sign on. The teacher would review what that lesson was for that day. They may come back on and check in at the end of the period just to review and answer any questions. Teachers will also have blocks available for office hours to review any material that the students are struggling with at home and be able to check in with the students to help them. There's also the National Honor Society to help with any content the students are having trouble with. But between all of those resources, I feel that we can help each student individually. So as one of our precautions and guidelines, we're going to ask each parent before they arrive at school each day, just like our staff are required to sign in and just make sure that they check in that the students aren't experiencing any of the symptoms that would require them to be out for that day. So we will be checking that form to make sure that everybody's taken a temperature, checked all the symptoms. If they haven't, they will be pulled out of that Block 1 class, and they will be separated from the rest of the school until we can verify that they don't have any of those symptoms. So it's out of the ordinary in any other year, but we are just asking that everybody get in the habit of logging into Genesis and checking off that their son or daughter has not had a fever, been exposed to anybody, or experiencing any symptoms currently that day. So lastly, I just want to say we look forward to meeting all of our new Viking freshmen next year. And from the Parsippany Hills administration to our new freshman parents and our new freshman students, welcome to Viking Nation, and let's have a great year.
Go Vikings.